Alright, we're going to get started. We're going to do a video talking about pre-workouts and how to set up the best formula for your specific needs. So to kick things off, we're going to start off with a base. So every pre-workout needs a base. Now this could be one of two things. You could either use a carbohydrate or a non-carbohydrate formula, or you can use an amino acid formula as the base. So to show a couple of those types of products, we'll get started with the amino acids.
First up is the Amino Energy from Optimum Nutrition. I believe there's 160 milligrams of caffeine. It is from natural sources. The thing with stimulants and caffeine in general, the more you take, the more of a vasoconstriction you get. So that might not be beneficial for you. It has 5 grams of an amino acid blend. It has some tyrosine that helps with the crash from the caffeine as well.
So you're going to use an amino acid to start the formula off. This is TriPep, is just a basic amino acid, peptide bonded. You can pick whichever one you prefer. I typically like to use one with a little bit of caffeine. Like Ben said, you don't want to have, depending on what you're doing. So like if you're doing mixed martial arts or if you're doing CrossFit, you might not want to have a lot of caffeine. If you get your heart racing too hard, it can hurt your endurance. So I typically use the Muscle Sport BCAA NRG, which is 200 milligrams of caffeine per scoop. Now, if I'm just weight training, this also has beta-alanine, the carnosine in it. If I'm weight training, I'll typically use 2 scoops, which is 400 milligrams of caffeine. That's a lot. That's like a high-end pre-workout. But if I'm doing something that's endurance-based, I'll just use 1 scoop. It just depends on what's best for you.
Yeah, with the Muscle Sport, it tastes very good as well. A lot of amino acids, especially leucine, it's real bitter, but theirs tastes very good, and they give you a high dose of leucine as well.
So it's a 10 to 1 to 1, which means that's a lot more leucine than your typical BCAA formula. So that's a good start. Next, like we said, now if you're trying to do fat burning, or if you're more worried about performance like a CrossFit athlete, you may want to look into a carbohydrate. If not, you may want to, if you're going low carb, if you're dieting, you might want to go with a low carbohydrate or no carbohydrate formula. So the next thing to go to, let's start with the carbohydrates. Now, this is probably the king of all carbohydrate products, Vitargo. Now, depending on what you're looking for, let's say if you're doing like an arm workout, you might want to do 1 scoop, which is about 35 grams of carbs, I believe. But if you're doing like legs, I might drink half before I work out and half during the workout, so that way you're getting 35 grams intra-workout as well. Intra, pre, and post-workout are probably the most beneficial times to get nutrients. That's when most of it's getting shuttled to the muscles. That's when you're tearing the muscles down, and that's when you're repairing the muscles. So it's very important that you get the right ingredients in there at that time.
Yeah, your body's like a sponge at that point, like Trevor said. And the benefit of Vitargo is it has very fast gastric emptying. I believe it's 10 minutes. So that gets in and out really quick. It's not something like a dextrose, which a lot of people, some can use, some can't. It'll just sit on your stomach. You'll get bloated from it. So the Vitargo gets out really fast.
Yeah, it's it just depends on what's best for you. That's what this video is all about. It's just trying to find what's best for you. If you're a local customer, you want to stop in, we'll help you. If you tell us what it is exactly that you're doing, what you're looking for, we're going to help you mix the formula to fit you as best as possible. If you buy one just out of the box, you're not going to be able to get exactly what you may need. It's just it's just a formula that's put together as it'd be like getting a cookie cutter diet. Everybody is different, so you need something that's specific for you. The only way to do that is to get some knowledge or to work with somebody that's actually willing to listen and help you and put something together specifically for you.
Speaking on dextrose, we have the IsoCarb from Man Sports.
Much cheaper.
Yeah, dextrose is very good bang for your buck. It's the fastest human or natural carbohydrate, I'll say. Like I said, it can have some bloating for some people. Bang for your buck, it's not bad. If you can get away with it, it's a pretty good option, but there's a lot better products out there.
Yeah, the next product right behind the Vitargo would be the cyclic dextrin, which is what's in the glycolode from Metabolic Nutrition. This is a top-of-the-line product. It's probably right behind Vitargo, and it doesn't sit on your stomach. It gets in the system, gives you a good pump. It's just very effective carb source. 0 sugar, tastes good. Good base to any kind of recovery formula or intra-workout formula.
Yeah, the benefit of the cluster dextrins is they slowly branch off. So you have a steady supply of energy and fuel. You won't have a crash. No blood sugar drop afterwards.
Yeah, it cleaves off like an ester does, and like on a let's say testosterone, it gets cleaved off, so it slowly releases. And you compare it to like something that like a Vitargo, which is a quick spike. Both have their benefits. You know, it just depends on what you're trying to do. One other option, which is a non-carbohydrate source, is the Keto Factor from Granite Supplements. This is a John Meadows product, one of the smartest guys out there in the industry, top of the line. They're using ketone salts instead of carbohydrates to produce fuel, to give you energy. So when you're on a low-carb diet, this does have some carbohydrates in it, but the amount of energy that you'll produce from these ketone salts is much more than just the amount of carbs that's in here. So it will fuel you even during those low carb days. Now, a benefit of a product like this is it already has the aminos in it. So this has a lot of the things that you may want already in one. Essential amino acids. It's got the ketone salts, like I said. It's got taurine, vasodrive, which is a specific trademarked ingredient to help with recovery. Very good formula. A little more expensive, but it's high end.
Yeah.
So if you go with something like this would kind of cover 2 or 3 products instead of just one.
Right.
And this would be a good option for a fat burning stack. So if you're looking for a fat burning stack and you're going low carb, there's a couple other things that you may want to add in.
Yohimbe's a beta agonist. Our fat around our lower stomach, lower chest, sides, females more in their glutes, their hips. Yohimbe can tap into that beta receptor and unlock it to be burnt. So if you do like a fasted cardio first thing in the morning and you use Yohimbe, you can pretty much burn straight fat for fuel. The only drawback with Yohimbe is you can't have any insulinogenic spikes. So that's why fasted works first thing in the morning. We haven't had no carbs while we slept, so your body can tap into that. So if you do it later on in the day, as long as you haven't had any carbohydrates for an hour or so, you should be fine and be able to benefit from it as well.
Another addition, this is a rare ingredient. It's called Biaba. This is something that actually is supposed to help with the browning of fat. And so what that does is it gets the fat cells, the white cells, and it can help turn them to brown cells so you can actually burn them for fuel. So some of the areas around like your organs, your stomach area, underneath the top layer of fat. And this is something that's new, it's innovative, it's very effective, but it does take a little more time to work. It's not something you're going to see results like overnight. But we've had a lot of success with this product and another product which is called Lipomorph from Antheus Labs. Contains the same ingredient, very effective, and it's non-stimulant.
Yeah, I've used the Lipomorph. How we relate it to people. The first bottle, it's just starting to kick towards the end, so you really need to run 2 out to get the full effect, because the browning effect does take a little bit of time.
It does. It takes a little bit of time. You got to be consistent with it as well. Okay, so we got your bases covered. One thing I did miss: if you're taking a carbohydrate-based formula, like an intra-workout or pre-workout with like the Vitargo, for just to say, you could take something called R-alpha lipoic acid. Now this increases your insulin sensitivity. It helps with the shuttling of glucose and glycogen. Very effective. It also helps lower your blood sugar. So somebody that was on diabetes or that has diabetes, like type 2, for example, could possibly lower their medication taking something like this. It helps their cells be more receptive to the insulin, which is a very good thing. And it's good, it'd be good for weight loss, good for putting on size. It's a very potent antioxidant which can help with the liver as well. Something that I use pretty consistently. All right, so that covers like the basic stuff, your base for whatever formula you may be wanting to do. Now comes the performance enhancing part of it. So there's a lot of performance enhancers you can add. There's creatine. There's different types of creatine. You got your pump products like agmatine, arginine, citrulline. Then you got stuff like betaine, anhydrous,
glycerol for blood plasma volume.
Yeah.
All kind of cell volumizers.
Glutamine, there's different types of glutamine. So without getting too crazy and taking up too much time, we're just going to cover a couple real quick and show you what we would do personally for a formula for ourselves.
The Power Max, this is from Performax Labs. This is kind of like an all-in-one product. It's very good. It has some creatine monohydrate for a base, and there's 5 grams. 2.5 grams of betaine anhydrous. 2.5 grams of L-alanoglutamine. Now the L-alano attachment is very important with glutamine because it degrades in the stomach acid to glutamic acid. So I believe it's called cysteamine's the patented version. So you always want to kind of look for that if you get a glutamine. Creatinophosphate, there's 2 grams. That's very good for strength. There's 90% amentiflavone extract at 100 milligrams, 1.5 grams of taurine, 1 gram of glycerol powder at 65% extract, sodium phosphate, potassium phosphate, and 95% piperine, the BioPerine 5 milligrams.
So this is a good creatine product that you can add in that's kind of well-rounded. It'd be great for any kind of athletics, good for CrossFit, good for anybody in the gym in general. Another product would be like a beta-alanine. Now this is good for any kind of endurance-based stuff. It's going to give you a little longer, I guess a little longer endurance. So like, you know, when you get that burning in your muscles, you'll get a couple extra reps typically before you really burn out. Beta-alanine is something that's been around for years. It's tried and true and seems to work very well.
Yeah, there's a big synergy between beta-alanine and creatine as well.
And you know, that same thing with the glutamine. You know, they go very well together for cell volumization. This is something that I typically use. It's actually I use the Muscle Sport, like I said, the BCA, which has beta-alanine in it. So if you do 2 scoops, you get the full clinical dose. And I take that, you know, at least once or twice a day, and that seems to definitely make a difference. It delays the fatigue.
Yeah, you have that and combine it with the creatine, it helps boost your ATP production, which is your energy for fuel.
Which is great for like, you know, explosive strength. So any kind of like powerlifting, you know, weightlifting, stuff like that, you're gonna have a lot more explosiveness. Yeah, we got a basic creatine monohydrate, which is just a good base product for anybody looking for creatine. One of the downfalls with creatine monohydrate, most people underdose it. They just do 5 grams for the maintenance phase, which usually isn't enough. Typically, you know, you want to do anywhere from like 15 to 20 grams, but you do it for shorter periods of time. Make sure you're hydrated, maybe 4 to 6 weeks on and then 4 weeks off. It seems to work very well that way, and you'll notice a boost in your performance. Agmatine, this is something that you can use to give you a little extra pump. There's been debate whether or not it's very effective. Personally, I've taken it. I like it. I think it helps me. It may not help everybody, but this is it's already synthesized version of arginine, so it's already converted to the state that's supposed to boost nitric oxide. Pretty cheap for the most part, and seems to work pretty well. There's a lot of other benefits as well. It actually can be used to help with detoxing from opiate withdrawal. It's something that can help with pain, very mildly, but it has some benefits there. Betaine, this is from beets. It's an extract. It can help with endurance, explosiveness. It also can help with hydration and vasodilation. Good addition. Another, you know, if you're really concerned about performance, it's something that you could add in with a good creatine. It would help make a difference.
Taurine's another good addition that you could add in. It helps with cell hydration, helps with liver function as well. So you'll turn over your nutrients very well. I believe it helps with cardiac function as well.
Yeah, cardiovascular failure. A lot of times they recommend that you take I think it's like 4 grams of taurine a day. It can help with that.
Yeah, this helps with cramping a lot too. If you're somebody that cramps up often.
Yeah, if you're dieting really hard, you know, you're not getting enough electrolytes. You train twice a day. You may be cramping. This is something that could be beneficial in that case. A lot of people that are suffering from cramps, if you take taurine and magnesium together, usually it wipes it out. Taurine's also good for back pumps. Guys that are taking anabolics, you know, if you're not getting enough water, a lot of times you'll start to get these low back pumps, which can be debilitating. Taurine's something that's usually recommended for that. L-citrulline, this is probably the most popular pump product out there nowadays. It changes every year, it seems like, but citrulline seems to be the hot thing right now. And if you take it in, you know, a good dose, like 4 to 8 grams, you're going to notice a big pump. It's a good ingredient, helps with nitric oxide, blood flow, which is always good. Now, we got a couple base products. There's a High Volume and Noravol. These are just base products. It's pretty much a pump formula without the caffeine. I like the Noravol because it has nootropics. They help give you that mental focus and energy. So it does give you a little bit of a focus, I guess you could say. You're really like in the zone when you train.
Yeah, and one of the call to tales with the High Volume that the Noravol doesn't have is it has a high dose of the Hydromax glycerol. It's very good for boosting blood plasma volume. You got to make sure you stay hydrated though whenever you're doing the glycerol. Especially
before you take it. If you drink a lot of water with it, you know, it could actually upset your stomach. So you got to be careful with that.
Yeah, really well-rounded formula. One of the best nitric oxide products on the market.
Yeah, it's a good pre-workout without the stimulants. So somebody that doesn't want the vasoconstriction that comes with stimulants, good stuff. Here's a stack that I like. I really like metabolic nutrition stuff. And this is their transalanine glutamine and the creatine glycerol phosphate. which in my opinion is my favorite creatine. It seems to be the most effective for me. I typically do 10 grams pre-workout, 10 grams post-workout with great results. Once again, you guys stay hydrated, and I usually do that for like 4-week period, and then usually 4 to 6 weeks, and then I'll take 4 weeks off. But these are unflavored, so you can mix them with anything, and they go very well together to boost strength and endurance.
They do have some flavored options as well if you guys would like that.
Yeah. So that pretty much covers all the performance enhancers, the different bases and stacks. Now we'll show you real quickly what we would do for ourselves, what we personally use. You want to go first?
Sure. Yeah, I'm a big fan. Well, we got the creatine monohydrate behind us. I like monohydrate. If you drink a ton of water, odds are you'll be fine with that. It's not as absorbed as well as a creatine glycerol phosphate, but it's a very good bang for your buck. That's what I typically roll with. Yeah, I like the Muscle Sport BCA as well. Like I was saying, it tastes great. Leucine's very bitter. It's hard to mask it. Muscle Sport does a very good job at that. It tastes great. Plus, you get a high dose of leucine, which is direct for turning on the mTOR pathway, which is protein synthesis. Now, I am big on stimulants, as you guys know if you follow. I really like Yohimbe, and I do lower carb diet if I do cut down. Yohimbe helps big time with controlling your appetite as long as you don't have any carbohydrates in your system. Plus, like I said, the beta action that it does to burn straight fat for fuel, that's typically what I stick with.
Okay. You want to give me that BCA there? Alright. Typically what I do, every day I do this, at least 2 scoops when I weight train. I'll take 2 scoops of the Muscle Sport BCA NRG, that's the one with the caffeine. Sometimes I add the Noravol if I'm really wanting to get in the zone. I may only do 1 scoop of the BCAA, so 200 milligrams instead of 400, and then use this as more of a mental focus pump product. I typically have the CGP mixed in pre 10 grams, and then I do another scoop with my protein afterwards. I don't do this all the time, but usually when I take the creatine, I'll run the tag as well, 10 grams pre and post. So I'll use them together, and then I'll take time off from both. Now when I'm not running those 2 products, I typically will go with just the BCAA, the Noravol, and I like the recovery factor, which we didn't show, but it's made by Granite Supplements, just like the Keto Factor, except it actually has the cyclic dextrin, which is what's in the glycoload, and it has the aminos already in it.
Yeah, I believe it has 6 grams of citrulline in it as well.
It does. I really like that product. It's kind of a good all-in-one. I use it, I'd say like half pre, and then I sip on it during my workout as well. Now, if I'm doing a really hard workout like back or legs, I'll actually do 2 scoops, and I'll do 1 scoop of my amino pre-workout for the energy, and then I add the recovery factor for more intra. But that's what we personally do ourselves. That sometimes changes. Obviously we try just about every pre-workout there is. That way we can give you guys good feedback and reviews. So other than that, pretty much wraps it up. You guys have any questions, please let us know. We got some other videos and stuff coming. Also, if you guys are interested, we've been doing we've been busy lately. We've been doing a lot of contest prep for the NPC Pittsburgh and now the NPC Mid-Atlantic, which is this weekend. So we've been kind of wrapped up with that. But if you would like, we could do some interviews with the athletes, the people that are getting ready to compete, and sit down with them, talk about their diet, their training, what's going on, how they feel, what's it like to compete, what their experience is like.
Kind of like some insider.
Yeah, just a different
insight.
type of video. Also, we want to do some more like vlogging type videos where you actually kind of like come with us, see what what we do daily, and just kind of so you guys kind of see what it's like to live in our shoes for a day or whatnot. Come train with us, that kind of thing. So we're going to try to do some different stuff, some different types of videos here shortly. And other than that, we got our normal content coming. We just took a little bit of a break just because of all the work we've been doing. And we'll be back to normal here probably next week. So be on the lookout for some new videos, and we'll talk to you guys soon.